More work to be done. I always make myself ideas, or I come up with ideas and make myself more work. That's what I've done today. And as you see behind me, that's our corn crib that used to be up at my parents' house. So we're trying to kind of, you know, have everything away from there. And I'd rather have it down here anyway, because the only thing that's up there yet is ducks, and we may move them down. But the chicken house is up there, obviously, so it makes more sense to, you know, have the corn crib down here. But the other thing that we're doing today, the goat pen for all of our does, which is currently on this side down here, the buck pen's up top, and that's actually starting, I don't know if you can see it from here, but that's actually starting to green up really well. It's not as tall as like any of the field areas, but that's getting really green. The problem that I'm running into is the girls' pasture. It's not even really a pasture, it's kind of tucked in the woods, and you know, it had a lot of grass and stuff in it, and obviously they eat stuff so fast. But basically the problem that we're having is the chickens will get out and they'll come in here and they'll scratch at everything. So if you see behind me, obviously we have all the field, and this field here is like crazy. It's getting pretty tall. So that's one of the hay fields, but there's like nothing in here, nothing whatsoever. And again, that is mainly because the chickens get out and scratch everything. Now, it has started to get a little bit of green, but it's nothing, you know, we're keeping the bucks and the does together for a total of 2 months. This is not gonna be anywhere where we want it to be. So there's the buck pen, and even that could be higher, but it's growing really well. So that's pretty good. We got some growing up there by the house. But again, this is just as bare as can be. So what we're gonna do today is, and I gotta figure something out back there for the chickens because that's gonna kind of be iffy, but I'm gonna move this house, and it's not really, it's not even really connected to anything at this point in time. It's, you know, by itself. The gate here is by itself. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna move it over here. But we'll leave it, we'll start it like out in here somewhere, and we're gonna fence in this little patch. This used to be like a sweet corn patch area, and you know, nothing has been done with it in years. So it just kind of grew up. There's a lot of clover in here, some orchard grass, maybe some timothy here and there. It's just a mixture of grasses overall. There's probably some white clover, I believe, too. So we're gonna try and fence this, a big area this in. That's gonna give our girls a lot more area to graze. You know, we only have 2 bucks right now, and that's probably, give or take, that might be the most that we'll ever have. So if all of our does get bred, which we have 3 does, if each one of them has a kid, that's 3. So, and that's not saying, you know, they're all going to be does, but let's just say they are, then now we have 6. So we need a much bigger area and a lot more grazing area for them too. It is cold today. It's only in the 50s, and yesterday it was like 80 degrees. I don't get how that happens. I think to start, I'm probably gonna pull this wire out. And again, this wire connects down to the chickens. So I gotta do something different with their wire to reconnect. I gotta reconfigure all that because I'm probably not making any sense, but there's a gap because all I did was bridge this side of the wire and the fence and that side of the wire for the chickens. So there's a gap there once I remove this. I found the spot for the corn crib. Semi-level on the upper side of the chicken house, but it's close. So that will make it nice. So this actually had legs under it, but when you fill it, I had the legs at least a foot, foot and a half long. It might have even been 2 foot. And it had too much weight on it. So I decided to take them off and set it on blocks. I wish it was a little bit higher off the ground, because the biggest problem that I see here is when it pours and rains, you know, all that water is going to just splash up in there. So I should have had it up higher, like maybe on some 8-inch blocks, but this is what we have, and I think it'll work. It may just rot the outside edges of corn, but ultimately on a corn crib, a big corn crib, you're gonna have the same thing. I did notice this side blew out the back of the wire, so we're gonna have to re-staple that because the squirrels are gonna easily be up in there, and this will be empty in no time if we don't fix that. Job 1 done. Now the bigger job. This. Well, that went better than expected. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be under there like that. I wasn't sure if it would pick up the whole thing. Well, I knew it would pick it up weight-wise, but as far as being flimsy or not, that I wasn't sure of. So I gotta figure out how I want to orient this, because I don't want to have to take off the door. I want to leave that how it is. I want to leave this whole thing configured how it is. Prevailing wind is from that way blowing this way, so I feel like I don't want to have the door facing this way, so the rain's gonna blow right into them if they're in there. So I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, I gotta figure that out. Only thing that's left, rip out all the fencing, and then we can start fencing this in. I think we have 200 foot of fence. I wasn't gonna get any more fence because I didn't want to have to, you know, spend any more money out to do that. But I don't know how much it's gonna actually do out here, so we may get another 100 foot roll just to make it a little bit bigger. I mean, this is a decently big area, and that was hardly any grass in there. So I think if we do, you know, we'll see where 200 feet gets us, but we may do another 100 foot roll just to make it a little bit bigger. Well, I got the fence started, so that's a plus. I have no idea what time it is at this point. But we got the corn crib moved. We got the goat house moved, and we started the fence. We got 3 stakes in, and we got the majority of this. This first roll is out, obviously, because it's laying there and sprung out. And I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what happens, but I don't know if I'm gonna have to do another roll or not. I would like to, because that would really give them a lot of room. However, I don't know that it's going to be necessary. I mean, that roll up there is kind of spanned out pretty far, and we have a whole another 100 foot roll up there yet. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna call it quits tonight. We'll come back out here tomorrow. I gotta do all the feeding yet, and we'll see where we can get. Obviously the goats aren't coming out here for a little while yet, so, and that'll give this time to grow up a little bit taller, get some more grasses coming up through, and then we can kind of figure out where we need to go. But this wind is kind of sucks, and I'm not dressed heavy enough for it. It's only in the 50s today. It was 80 yesterday. It's cold. 2 days later, yesterday was cold too. It's 65-ish today, a little breezy. We're gonna continue on this. We're getting there. This is a full 100 feet. And it goes out there decent ways, and we do have obviously our another 100 foot that we got to finish taking apart. I brought down some chicken wire because I know I'm gonna have to close that in over there with the chickens. So that's kind of where I have to move to. Up here, finish removing the fence, and then put that chicken wire in. Otherwise there'll be a big hole there and the chickens will be all over the place. I wasn't gonna get another roll, but it was kind of small. It was coming down like right in here or a little bit further, but I think for the amount of room that we do have, we should make it big enough. That way they don't go through eating all this so fast. This is gonna make a really nice pasture for the goats. I'm really happy with this. I'm glad I went and got another roll of wire. I really didn't want to, but it just seemed kind of small. And if we get more goats, which, like I said before, with breeding them and stuff, you know, if we end up with a bunch of does and stuff, because this is gonna be our doe pen, you know, it's gonna fill up quick and they're gonna need more food, more roughage and all that. So I'd say we're about 3/4 done, probably a little bit more than half. Our last post is like up in there. I have pieces of rebar too that I've been using, and mainly I used those for support up at the top when I had it up there, because I ended up spacing my U-posts a little too far apart. But these are working really well. Just zip tie them fast, and you know, they're working pretty well for fence posts. And they're a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to buy rebar than it is the U-post. The U-post price went up a lot. So right here's our last one, and right there's the end of the roll, and then we're gonna square up, and then we have to go back to there. So I think I have some more posts up at my parents' house, and because I don't know that this is gonna be enough, and one of those is really bent, so 2 of those are actually bent pretty hard, so I don't know if we'll be able to get them in the ground or not. But I think we're gonna resume tomorrow. Sun's starting to go down. It's about 7 o'clock. I gotta get some supper, so I'll catch you tomorrow. Day 3, we're at it. It's warm, and it's really nice outside. We're done. It took a while. I think we worked on this for 3 days, only a couple hours here and there, but it's a really, we have 300 feet of wire. I had to use some shorties, but we managed to have, you know, everything we needed, luckily. But it's obviously from right here all the way down there, so that's a really good area, I feel. You know, we have 3 girls right now, so this should give them plenty of room, you know, to graze, and they're not going to be moved out here till another month. So the benefit to that is this pasture is going to grow up even more, you know, till then. And there's a lot of clover out here, definitely some orchard grass, maybe even some timothy out here. So there's a lot of different things out here for them to eat. Some spots are thicker than others, but this should work out really well for them. Compared to where they were, this is going to be 10 times better. So, and the boys' pasture up there, if you want to call it that, it's a small area, but that's starting to grow pretty well too. And again, another month, so this should work out pretty well. I mean, you can see kind of the height of these grasses already, at least maybe a foot tall, some of it. But there's, like I said, there's a lot of clover in here and a lot of other types of grasses too. So that's gonna do it. We're done. Now we can move on to the next project of 20 that we have. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.